Mall of America. For more than 30 years, it has been a retail leader and an international destination, and it remains the largest mall in the U.S. Not to mention, it welcomes millions of guests from around the world. It's huge, but it's also so much more. In this podcast, you're going to hear the real stories of how it started and why it continues to thrive. You'll hear about challenges we faced along the way and what you can learn from them. We will feature guests and experts from all walks of life and business, and along the way, you'll laugh, learn, and maybe even change the way you look at things. So if you're a fan of the mall, a brand new visitor, an entrepreneur, or a dreamer, prepare to dive deep into so much more. This podcast is presented by the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome to So Much More, our Mall of America podcast, where we bring you fantastic stories from right here in Bloomington, Minnesota, Mall of America. I am your host today, Jill Renslow, and I am joined by my fabulous colleagues, Chris, Grant, and Dan, and we are here with a special edition of The Office Party, where we really take a look back, at the episodes that we have taped already this season, and believe it or not, this is our episode 16. We're hitting a milestone.
Week 16, we can drive.
It's exciting.
I love it.
But it's been great. We look back at the guests that we've had on, the topics that we've talked about, and we've had a really eclectic mix, a really diverse group of guests and topics that we've discussed. And that's exactly what we set out to do with this podcast, is to really showcase Mall of America and all the fun, exciting things that we get to do and interact with and people that we work with every day. So let's talk a little bit about our favorites. So Dan, kick us off on the last 16 episodes.
Wow.
What has been your favorite?
This is like picking my favorite grandchild.
Or
I'm a little afraid to do this.
Favorite coworker?
Exactly.
How about just one of your most memorable moments? We'll go that way.
You know, I've had a bunch of them. Actually, first of all, thank you to all of you, because I've loved being part of this project. It's been so much fun, and to all our listeners and viewers. I think one of my favorite ones, or one of my favorite memories, was with Arik Cannon from F1RST Wrestling, because I had not met
Arik Cannon.
Arik Cannon. I'm sorry, Arik. My apologies.
We got him.
And the cool thing about this podcast is we just go with it.
We let it ride.
And
No editing.
I'm fairly certain he'll be fine with that.
Yes.
I was thinking of our producer, Julie Hansen. Arik Cannon, I loved it because it was so much fun. I didn't really know him very well prior to that. And he surprised me when they really talked about the inclusivity of their program and how well that really folds in with Mall of America. So I love that connection and just the excitement. And he was just a fun storyteller.
I love it. That was a very fun episode to listen to, because I previously was not a big wrestling fan, but from having the event here and listening to that conversation, there were nuggets that I connected with and really appreciated the
Would
dialogue.
we say there's so much more?
There's so much more.
So
Chris.
every day, so much more.
So much more. So Chris, how about you?
Mine was Sasha Cassadine. For me, a lot of the episodes I've been on, I have relationships with the folks, so I know a lot of their stories, but Sasha is somebody I only ever saw as a performer. So to be able to hear her story, how they came here, and their connection to Mall of America was fantastic. And to be able to have that kind of time and really dig into some of those conversations was a lot of fun. And it goes back to that same thing, like honesty, integrity, inclusivity. It's just Sasha Cassadine.
Yes.
Who is Sasha Cassadine? There's a card that came up. Maybe our listeners don't know. I find it hard to believe they haven't heard that episode, but luckily you can go back and listen if you don't know who she is. But she is the queen of flip phone events, local drag performer who is very, very well respected throughout the industry, and hosted our last drag show at Mall of America. So she was on and shared her story, and it was absolutely fantastic.
And I had the pleasure of being on that. And the one thing I learned from Sasha that I loved was one can never have enough glitter.
I know. That episode was called Glitter.
We were very lacking.
covered in glitter.
Glitter child.
At the beginning, none. After we recovered, yes.
I love it. We go from wrestling to glitter and drag queens to what was your most memorable?
Well, working here, you hear all these stories from your coworkers of like, hey, this happened. I just really enjoyed hearing from John Ghermezian, the owner, on the history of the Mall of America, the vision, how it came to life. Like hearing him tell that story versus hearing it from other people and piecing it together is just a really great piece for me. And like understanding that and everything in all the episodes that we have, hearing it first person versus third person has just been really great for me.
That's awesome. It was a good episode.
Yeah, it was fun to talk to John. And I know we have another podcast in the future coming up with John to learn more about the owner's perspective. I would say the favorite one for me, or one that I really enjoyed, was the conversation you guys had with Christopher Straub. I mean, we've known Christopher from a fashion perspective for years. He was part of our Project Runway curated style fashion show, but then to really dive into the details of how you guys dressed Paul Bunyan is fascinating. And I honestly forgot about a lot of the costumes that you put Paul and Babe in. So it was fun to have that reminder of all the different crazy ideas that you guys have come up with and how you tackled dressing this huge figure. It was really fun to listen to.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the through line with a lot of these opportunities is this building has meant so much to so many people for so long, and to be able to bring them in to showcase their talents as well, to be in front of all the other guests when they were guests and maybe saw somebody and were impressed by their performances. It's so much fun to hear those stories. I love that opportunity.
So I'd also like to know from you guys if there were any nuggets of advice that you took away. A lot of times we ask our guests to give career advice or to explain kind of their road or path to success, and some of that feedback they give to our listeners and viewers. Any takeaways from you guys with regards to advice that was given?
Yeah, I have a couple really quickly, if I may. One is we interviewed the mayor of Bloomington, Mayor Tim Bussey, who was a fun guest and has a long history with the mall. And I can't remember if this was advice, but a lesson I took from him was have fun. Just because you're a politician doesn't mean you have to be boring, right? Just have fun. And the other one was with Eric Peel when he said, learn to write well. For me, that was
Great
meaningful.
piece of advice.
Yeah, Chris and I were interviewing Chris Wink from Wink World, and it was just really enlightening to hear him talk about inspiration and inspiration coming from different places, right? He told the story about how Wink World came to him in the bathroom. He made it from there, and like how Blue Man Group started, and like that journey of that creative process in his mind, and how everything sort of builds on itself and sort of zigzags was just really cool to hear from somebody who's creatively brilliant. So. Yeah.
Absolutely, Chris.
For me, it was a very simple line, maybe in passing, but Arik Cannon said, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. And I find myself reminding myself that on a daily basis sometimes when my patience is tested, but it's true. Leading with kindness is something that we've talked about, but it doesn't cost anything to be kind, and it goes a long way. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah. How about you?
A thread that I noticed through a lot of the people we talked to is just their sense of curiosity and creativity. And I really appreciated the simplicity of a lot of these leaders and a lot of the folks that lead brands, that they just try new things and you never know what's going to happen. And I think that resonates really well with our brand as well. And it was something that just continues to inspire me, because you just never know where those ideas are going to come from, and you just have to be curious to look behind the door. So I just love the conversations. It's been a lot of fun.
Right.
A lot of fun. So we are approaching a very special time of year for us here at Mall of America. We always call it our Super Bowl. It is the holiday season, and we kick that off with Black Friday. So I think it'd be fun for our listeners and viewers to hear firsthand from those of us that are right in the thick of things as we approach the November-December timeline, and what that looks like for Black Friday. So first, start off with just a favorite memory or maybe a tradition that you have here at Mall of America, either by yourself, with work, or with your family, that you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers. Grant, do you want to kick us off?
I'll start with what is called the uncle shopping trip that I do with my uncles and cousins on my mom's side of the family. It was started 20 years ago, and once you turn 21, all the guys get together and come to Mall of America for a shopping day. And that shopping day is loosely scheduled, mainly around the restaurants and beverages that we drink in between shopping. But, you know, we split off and we go shopping. We come back, we meet for a beer. We show the things that we bought for our loved ones and family and friends. Then we share those with each other. We go do that again. We basically do that all day long. Some of the best presents were bought that way. Some of the best memories were had that way. And it is something that has been passed on. My dad, who's, in his mid-70s, he still comes. My younger cousin, who's just turned 21, he's coming this year. So really excited, and that's something that we do every year.
I love it.
Great.
That is
Dan,
awesome.
how about you?
I just want to see some of the presents from Grant's shopping trip at the end of the day.
Those are the best ones. Those are the best ones.
Right?
I don't know if they'll meet our gift guide.
Yeah,
or bless.
Probably
Yeah.
not, I'm guessing. But I want to join you this year, if that's all right.
That
That would be
sounds
fun. This is not going to shock any of my co-hosts here today, and maybe not anyone who knows me that's listening, but my favorite holiday memory is building the world's largest gingerbread house.
Shocker.
I know, shock. Because I actually helped. I mean, a lot of us really created this and came together. But 2 nights before we were supposed to open it, it was not finished. The roof wasn't finished. In fact, that's how I met our COO, Rich Hoagie. He and I we had met, but didn't know each other. 2 nights in a row, we stayed up all night long building that ceiling on that thing. Smelled like gingerbread for a month. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Are you not going to rattle off all the stats?
14,500 pounds of gingerbread, 4,500 pounds of frosting, 2 tons of candy, 350,000 people walked through, and we raised $150,000 for my former nursing home, St. Therese Home.
We love that. And it's funny because none of us ever challenge him on his stats because he rattles them off so fast. We just believe him.
Say it with confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Say it loud enough and with confidence.
Chris, follow up the gingerbread house. What's yours?
A couple things. I think my favorite thing is closing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
When we did that at the time, it seemed like a controversial ask, but again, it was the right thing to do, and really gave us the permission to bring a sense of ceremony and celebration back to Black Friday. And nobody does it like we do. And I think it is the place to be for Black Friday activity. And it all came from doing the right thing. And now we all have these stories, being out on the floor, seeing our guests and hearing why they have chosen to spend their time with us. And I think that's a really special thing. Again, looking back, it was crazy to think that maybe this was kind of a tough sell at the time, but it's really the right thing to do. And it's led to so many awesome opportunities for us. Yeah. And then my tradition that I love on Black Friday, when the dust is settled and we're all good, my finish line ceremony is going to Cinnabon and getting a caramel pecan Cinnabon one time a year. And it's on Black Friday when we're done. When everything's good, moving on, that's what we do.
I love it. I love that you brought up Thanksgiving because that was really special and important to us. And it's been 8 years, I believe, that we've now been closed on Thanksgiving. And actually, my new tradition stemmed from being closed on Thanksgiving because we didn't have to go to sleep early to get back to work on Thanksgiving. And so now I found the secret hidden gems in the mall that a lot of our retailers start marking down all of their Black Friday sales on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So now I have a tradition where I do my Black Friday shopping on Wednesday evening, the day before Thanksgiving, and I have found major deals. So that is a little hint.
There we go.
Because they get ready to go so everybody can go home on Thanksgiving and come back ready to roll on Friday morning, which brings me to my next question for you guys. Black Friday. It is definitely a big celebration for us. We own Black Friday. What's a headline that we saw last year, Chris?
The mall where Black Friday refuses to die.
We now have that framed and hanging in our office, but no, we truly believe that we own Black Friday. It is a fun tradition for so many families to come to. And even if, it's mother-daughter trips, it's girlfriends that meet from across the country here. We have people that come from around the world. So it's such a fun tradition. So I would love for you guys to paint a picture for our viewers and listeners about what does Black Friday look like this year? So Chris, kick us off.
What does Black Friday look like this year? Well, one of my favorite things coming in early with everybody in those final touches for setup, because there's almost like a little buzz in the air around the team, which it's a super fun day where we all get to work together again across departments and be out on the floor visiting with guests. And there's a lot of prep work that goes into it. So it's a little bit of nerves. Will this work? Will this happen again? But then it's seeing everybody line up at the doors. And then as we get closer to opening, when media comes in and we're all ready to set the stage and we kick off the snowflakes, the Enchanted Snowflake experience. So Andy Williams starts singing and people start coming in, and there's just such joy amongst the folks. And it just feels like, okay, now we get to put on a show. And so all of our prep work leading up to that moment is worth it. Yeah. And then, if the things work out the way we want, it's okay because everybody's excited and having a good time. But there's so many events and activations that day beyond just the shopping that this really is a very robust day. So we're very excited this year to bring back the mystery scratch off in a new iteration perhaps. But there's so much excitement and activity around that. Candy Cane Institute opening to the public that day, our entertainment in the Rotunda, and the light shows in Nickelodeon Universe, and we haven't even scratched the surface. There's so much stuff going on. It's a blast.
My favorite is watching the guests win their prizes when they get a chance to open the secret door with their scratch off, when they get their gold scratch off. It is amazing. And then actually what's even more entertaining is when they get something that they don't want and then they're trading it with the person that was in front of them. And then
so
everybody's
good.
happy because they're trading it up. But it's great when you see these people walk away with a Kate Spade handbag or a Burberry scarf or a Nintendo Play System. Like just the element of surprise is unforgettable.
It's also just like a great people talking to day, right? Like I love going out in line and talking to the people and understanding where they came from and why they're here. It's just like a really great, like hear people's story day for anyone at Mall of America. And it's not just the people first in line. Spend the day, I walk around the mall, I talk to people, help people out, but just like understanding that special tradition around Black Friday. There's a lot of like emotion and sentiment that a lot of people have of like, I've done this forever. We always do it this way. Like, it's just a really great kickoff to the holiday season for a lot of people.
No, and mine are real similar to all of yours as well. But one of the things I love most about Black Friday, and it's something that we do all the time, but it is magnified on Black Friday, right? Which is kind of walking around. I love helping people with directions on Black Friday.
It's great.
And it's because I am in my zone. Oh, yes, that's down this way. Just walk down here, hang a left, past the old, whatever, and go up 2 floors and over here. Let me walk with you. I'll take you. I've had a lot of caffeine at this point, let me tell you.
Today or on Black Friday?
Any day. It's an evergreen statement.
Exactly. But it's like you walking around talking to people, Grant, I just love walking around and giving directions to people because when they're lost, and it's just so much fun. And I've seen some amazing things. I remember once, and this was a few years back, I stopped in a restaurant to grab a little bite. I was exhausted, and there was a family that had grandpa and grandma and multi-generations, and it was chaos, right? And loud and chaos. And Grandpa walked up to me, and I was sitting by the bar having my meal, and he walked up, and I just went, it's an exhausting day. And he said, this is the most amazing day of my life. I'm here with my family. And it helped me remember why we do what we do. And it was awesome.
And it's probably hard for some people to understand that the day really is special.
Yeah.
There is something about it that is, it's beyond retail, it's beyond entertainment, but it's a point of connectivity for friends, families, the intersection of being excited for a new experience and nostalgia all happens on that day. It's really special to be able to have a front row seat to it.
Yeah. And people come because they want to be part of the tradition, the excitement. I mean, we had 10,000 people through our doors in the first hour last year. So we build off of that momentum, and we're excited to bring those folks back because a lot of them come back year after year.
Do.
So, Black Friday is the showcase that the guests see from a holiday perspective. It's the kickoff, but we actually kick it off earlier than that. I mean, as soon as we wrap up Halloween, we're getting decorations put up, and we have a team behind the scenes that does an amazing job. But we also all help out ourselves, and we have a tradition with our tree fluffing. So, Grant, do you want to kind of explain our tree fluffing tradition?
Yeah, so all Mall of America employees.
Do I use it as fluffing the right? I know we always
tree fluffing.
That is what's on the calendar invite. Tree fluffing, yes.
Fluffing or fluffing or whatever.
So all Mall of America employees get to help decorate the mall. And the operations teams help set out all the trees, but they're not in the pristine condition that we want them to be. So we divide up in teams and go and make the trees look great. And it's by team, but where there's a lot of camaraderie, and our team goes get coffee before and donuts afterwards, and we make sure every branch on every tree is pointed the right way to make sure it's the right experience for everyone.
Well, and it starts out a little bit, we're all corralled in the rotunda or whatever, and it's usually like Nate with like a Tommy Lee Jones like giant map with like, okay, here's your quadrants.
Yep,
there's going to be a ladder. Here's your gloves. Help each other, and it's like we're just.
I love
gonna have cocoa and eat donuts and fluff trees, man.
It's gonna look pretty. And the best part, what I love about the tree fluffing day is you're in the middle of it with your team, right? And making it look good, and the mall walkers. Right?
Oh yeah.
Tell it. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's they're supervising us.
They love the mall.
They do love the mall.
Always
and so
watching.
they are engaged with the process as well. And they really appreciate seeing all of us out there festive, dressed a lot of times in ugly sweaters and just having fun with the holidays. And so they appreciate it because it's decorating their mall too. And so it's fun because I feel like they sometimes critique that we're
I was going to say, that's a really kind way to put that, Jill, because they are not shy about saying,
lots of notes.
you got a lot of work to do here, gang.
that
You're done with that
the top
one?
of the tree that's 15 feet tall. It's a little awkward.
And last year, my 5-year-old son's preschool was canceled that day. So I actually brought him to help fluff trees with us, and he loved it. He was just like, oh, and he was so nervous about doing the right one at 5 years old. Like, does this look good? I was like, you make it look as good as you want it to look, and then you can move on. He was doing each branch, but it was so crazy to see the mall walkers come by. They see him doing it. It was a great experience. So.
But this place is magical during the holidays, and we hear it all the time. It is a photo op everywhere you turn. So I think we have a lot of people that have been here during the holidays, but for those that have not been here, Dan, can you describe what this place transforms to look like during the magical time of year?
Yeah, first of all, it's massive. For someone who's never been here, it's 5.6 million square feet. This is a big building, but it's a big building with personality and something that will inspire you around every corner, right? From the giant nutcrackers that we have to, our Christmas decor, and Chris is an expert in this, is giant size, and it's this giant size replication of things that we loved when we were kids. So for me, and the other thing that I think people that have never been here will be amazed at are the number of poinsettias that we have throughout this building, thousands of them that are just absolutely beautiful.
And I love West Market. The twinkle lights are so beautiful when you turn that corner. It's just so picturesque. So I would love to wrap up this episode with advice for the holidays. So if a family only has one chance to get here during the holidays, what is that must-do item on their list? What should they for sure see? What should they experience? What should they visit while they are here for hopefully getting some Christmas gifts and some holiday fun. But what is your advice for them to do during this holiday season?
I love Candy Cane Institute. I love taking my family to it. It's a one-of-a-kind Santa elf experience that is different than your traditional sit on Santa lap experience because we have more engaging elves in Santa and brings you through this fun experience. I think it's one of a kind. I love bringing my family into it. I think it's a must stop for anyone that's coming here.
Love it.
I do too. Yeah,
I beat you to it.
I love that
I
as
knew
well.
you were
I was going to say that.
Did you see me jump right in?
So do-over.
Make quick eye contact. So you get reversed.
What I will say is for someone who's never been here before, wear comfortable shoes, first of all, right? Because it's a big building and you're going to do a lot of walking. And for those who've never been here, that I think is kind of a really cool tip is have a meal at Twin City Grill. Right? That is one of our favorite. We have a lot of wonderful places to eat and dine, but that's kind of a tradition for me. So I would say
Loaded
that.
mac and cheese is highly recommended.
So French onion soup there is great too. Oh, sorry.
Love it.
And Chris.
Iron Range Chicken. Are we giving orders? Sorry, what are we talking about here? I would say, and this could be any year, but if you only have one day here, look at the website, look at the events calendar as well, because we have so many different offerings. You can let that be your guide as well. And I'm really excited about the slate of content that we have coming up. But one must-see thing that I do think is magical, in the south entrance of Nickelodeon Universe, our holiday light shows that happen over in that area truly are magical. I love them so much, and I love to go and watch people watch the shows. When it starts snowing, it works every time. It works every time. So that's my favorite thing.
So I have a couple that I'm going to quick sneak in
Good.
here. So one, I can't believe you didn't say log shoot because that is your baby.
The
so
Yule log shoot.
you have to go into the Yule log shoot to see how Paul and Babe are dressed this year because it's a surprise for everybody. Secondly, I would say, just get a chance to relax in the Rotunda, our Huntington Bank Rotunda, to enjoy the Holiday Music Festival. It's always great to just enjoy live music, to put you in the mood. It's always nice when there's some snowflakes falling outside, but even if you don't get outside, there's snow falling in different places within the mall. But I think it's just really taking that time to make sure you walk around the entire property because you will get a chance to see all the different decor and those fun photo ops. Because when you're in the rotunda, we have giant trees that are just beautiful to take in. And I think just taking that time to just sit back and watch the hustle and bustle, but also just to enjoy the season, because it goes by too fast. So
I would agree. And the rotunda is going to be beautiful this year with our new upgraded lighting package, right, friends? Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. It's absolutely fantastic.
I love it. Well, early happy holidays to you, gentlemen. It's been fun so far this season with now hitting 16th episode. So looking forward to more exciting things to come. We have so many friends and fun brands that we're going to have on in upcoming episodes. So stick with us, tune in, follow us wherever you follow your podcasts, because we have fun and exciting stories to share. And that's going to do it for us today on So Much More. So happy holidays to everyone, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of So Much More. If you want to hear more, be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you find your favorite, including Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts. And you can also watch a video cast on YouTube. Go to podcast.mallofamerica.com to leave a review, ask a question, or give us an idea for the show. Until next time, thanks for listening. So Much More is presented by the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau, the official destination marketing organization for the city of Bloomington, Minnesota. Before your next trip to Mall of America, visit bloomingtonmn.org for answers to all your travel questions, deals and packages for hotel stays, and so much more.